Good morning, Jane.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. A little cold,
Yeah.
but it's a Monday and we're week number 5, so it kind of goes fast from now on, even though you might not believe it. That's the nice thing about starting in the middle of January. That month goes really fast when you only have 2 weeks. So
Yeah, it did.
just really, and February is a short month. So, but yeah, a little chilly out there. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I only watched the first half.
Yeah, I missed halftime. Although I know the weekend, I know who they are, and I think they're good, but I totally missed it because I
We
usually try
watched it at my
to
grandparents'.
watch.
They were like, "Who the hell is the weekend?"
I know it's missing letters, but I am aware a little bit of pop culture, a little. And so I don't mind their music, but I haven't watched it yet. They said it was kind of controversial, but it always is. There's always critics. So I don't know. My daughter made good food. She made tacos, taco salad. I went with the lettuce, of course, and then cheese balls and jalapeno poppers and con queso. It was really good food, but salty. But it was good. But it was so cold. It was nice to have spicy food last night. But then I had to drive back, and it was like, oh, it's a little chilly out. I taught my 3-year-old grandson Uno, and he beat me every time. He says, I have to win. I have to win. And I'm like, you have to win? I have to win. Oh, okay. Where did you get this competitive nature? Everybody laughs, but
Excuse me, did you ever check for the homework that you
I
submitted
did.
for last week?
I did.
I posted on February 1st, the same time I posted the intro in Google Classroom. It's on
Oh, so you posted it. I'll go in there again. Yeah, I went in and I didn't see it.
it's DJ Shelton. I posted
Yep.
it.
Yep. I
Okay.
have you in my, I have to go in with Connie too, but I did a lot of correcting this morning. So, and put my coursework out. And it's 11 o'clock and we have how many in here today? 9. That'll work.
Yeah.
Um, the the unit of study this week is the Reader's Theater, which means all take part. You all will be reading. The parts are not lengthy. And we do, I think, 4 different stories. And that's pretty much what we do today. So you'll get some participation points. Um, you know, I kind of keep a log on the side of who's here for speeches, and then Zoom shows uh, your appearance. Doesn't mean you're always here. Could be you're just logged in Zoom land. But Readers Theater is when it's a group of speakers. And so you each have a part to read. And it's nice because it's current. So it's Native American science fiction. These books are brand spanking new. They've probably been in the writer's mind a while. But I came across an article in August in the New York Times, and I posted the article in Google Classroom because I just don't, pull things out of the sky. And I thought I should read the first chapters of these books. And so on Amazon, many times you can just read the first chapter, or on iBooks, what you have. And so that's what we're going to do today. And it kind of ties in with group work because that's your next major assignment. You'll get a topic, and I put those in on Friday. and you'll be put in groups. And if you look at your topic Excel document, it shows you the 5 students you're with. And not all 5 are going to show up. So it's an individual grade. Sometimes in a group discussion, you get a group grade, and then you get an individual grade. And I used to do that so that if your group managed maybe a C or a D, you might have done outstanding work and have gotten an A. So you'd end up with at least a B for the group, participation. Now I just do individual grades because it's really obvious when you work in a group, especially in a Google document, which I will be sending each group, that you are contributing because all the edits are posted and they're time-stamped. And so Readers Theaters today, we'll read a couple different ones. And that's really all you have to do in class today is read out loud. And then if you are in classroom, that's where the documents are. I just put them up on the share because that way everyone can read it, and I try to make it so it's viewable. But if you go into week number 5, Readers Theater, it's what we do today. And then Wednesday, we start the group discussion because that will take 2 weeks. And so you guys did the top part of this week, and then New York Times, Native American Science, Sci-Fi Readers Theaters, and it came from this article in the New York Times last fall. So the title of the article, because I read the New York Times every day. I try to read quality news. We've already survived an apocalypse. Indigenous writers are changing science fiction. So is there anybody in here who likes science fiction? Nobody?
I do.
Good. All I need is one. Long underrepresented in genre fiction, Native American and First Nations authors are reshaping its otherworldly, but still often Eurocentric worlds. There's Sherry Dimmeline near her home in Midland, Ontario. There's a big push now for the telling of Indigenous stories. And so it tells her background. Her grandmother and great aunts told her stories about werewolf-like monster called the Rougarou. It wasn't spoken of as a mythical creature, but an actual threat. The embodiment of danger in a place where Indigenous women faced heightened risks of violence. This wasn't like, here's a metaphor. They would say, the Rougarou's out and he's really hungry. So down the road, she puts together a book called Empire of Wild. There it is. And we'll read the first chapter of it. Really good critics. They thought the book was great. And then we have a guy named Tommy Orange and Darcy Little Badger, who's the author of Ilazzo. And we have one, The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. And he's one I read last spring, about a year ago. Catherine gave me a book to read. I think it was last spring. And then Rebecca Roanhorse's Black Sun. And so this article, if you really dig Native American sci-fi, it's a good article, good references, and a really good context. It gives you good background. All right. So if you look at your, I got the coughs. I wish I could get rid of it, but I can't. If you look at where's my drive at. I put a number by your names in the Excel document for topics, because that's how I run the show. And so let's look at and see your numbers in case you don't have them handy. So for Readers Theaters today, just hang on to your number. So Tylee, you are number 1. Parker 2, Shayna 3, Maya 4, Jacob 5, Weston 6, Riley 7, Dakota's 8, Jerry's 9, and Dante's 10. Okay.
Yeah, title right there.
Do you know your numbers yet?
No, I know my number.
I just said them out loud. And Angel, you're 1 and 11. Cree, you're 2 or 12. Autumn, you're 3 or 13. Hannah Mountain, 4 or 14. Red Feather, 5 or 15. Connie, 6 or 16. DJ, 7 or 17. Allie, 8 or 18. Austin, 9 or 19. And Mystic, 10 or 20. I'll keep it open. But let's go to Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse.
Do we get to pick our own article to read, or?
No, we're going to read this first chapter of.
So what do we fill in the topics?
By Rebecca Roanhorse. This is only chapter 1. And where it says all, I need all of you to read that line together. Okay? And then number 1, who's number 1 in this class? Tylee. She will read where it says number 1. You see that? Okay, let's go. And the first one is kind of interesting. It's a good story though. Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse, chapter 1. Okay, everybody say this line. Go.
Oh,
His stench is hard, the accurate sweat of extrusion. Is that one?
Back up. No, it says A-L-L.
The monster has been here. I can smell him.
Everyone's got to say it.
what do you want to say? All, not the whole thing.
All of you together.
Count down.
Okay, I guess we'll go
3,
1, 2,
2, 1.
3. Okay.
The monster has been here. I can smell him.
Oh, you guys, you're so good. We don't have to do any more. You did one sentence together. But what did you think of that first sentence for her book?
It sounds interesting.
So what did he smell like?
I want to keep reading.
I know it's a good first chapter. They're all good, but to wake up and do a reader's theater on a Monday when it's 20 below, there are worse things you could be doing, like shoveling snow. So there's not many of alls because in the classroom face to face, it's a little bit easier. But I've only done this Readers Theater unit, this one, in Zoom, because we know that some are still here, some already checked out, et cetera, et cetera. But if there are, we've got 17 in class. We're down to 16. Some will be checking out, but we will read chapter 1 and find out about the monster. And I made it big, the print, so can you guys see it? All right, let's keep going.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, thank you for feedback. Okay, number 1. Tylee.
His stench is part of the acrid sweat of exertion, part of the meaty ripeness of a carnivore's unwashed flesh, and part something else I can't quite name.
Awesome. 11. 11. Who is number 11? Maybe they aren't in here anymore. Angel, are you in class?
Yeah.
Groovy. You're either 1 or 11, but we'll take number 11 because we have another one. Okay, go ahead.
It fouls in the evening air, stretching beyond smell to something deeper, more base.
And your voices aren't awake, so it sounds really mysterious. Thank you. Number 1, back to you again. Sorry.
It unsettles me, sets my own instincts howling and warning.
Oh God, do I have a 17?
I enjoy this, by the way. I think I'm gonna like this, the way this turns out.
Well, it was just crazy last fall. I read the Times. I went, oh my God, I gotta throw this as a Reader's Theater. Because last year we did Pushing Up the Sky. There were 7 plays in here. And so we read aloud the parts, and they were cool, written for children. But this is a little bit older, young adult literature. And I thought, this might be kind of fun online. Okay. Well,
I'm enjoying it.
Well, that's all I need is 1. It's like, we'll see on a Monday what we have to do here. I want to know what happens. So who is 17?
Me.
Go.
Cold sweat breaks out across my forehead.
Who is 16?
Wipe it away with the back of my hand.
Wow. 2. It should
That
go
would-
fast.
It could be me or somebody else. I have 2 or 12.
Right. So it's the person after Tylee.
Oh, never
Yeah,
mind.
it's me.
My bad.
I
just
can
remember
also
Ty-
smell the child. He's stolen.
Cool. Oh, should we start from the top? Let's just get it good. Everyone's in place. If you don't know your number, I suppose I can copy and paste it into the chat, but life is short. So let's do from the top, Rebecca Roanhorse. Her book is called Trail of Lightning. Just even the picture of her with the gun on top of the pickup. All right, chapter 1. 3, 2, 1.
The
The monster has been here.
I can smell him.
I know, that's not 20 voices. All right, number 1.
His stench is part of the acrid sweat of exertion, part of the meaty ripeness of a carnivore's unwashed flesh, and part something else I can't quite name.
It fouls the evening air, stretching beyond smell to something deeper, more base.
It unsettles me, sets my own instincts howling and warning.
Cold sweat breaks out across my forehead.
I wipe it away with the back of my hand.
I can also smell the child. He's stolen.
Her scent is lighter, clearer, innocent.
Ooh.
She smells alive to me, or at least she was alive when she left here.
By now, she could smell quite different.
The door to the Luka Chukai chapter house swings open.
A woman, likely the child's mother, sits stone facing an old metal folding chair at the front of a small meeting room.
She's flanked by a middle-aged man in a silver belly cowboy hat and a teenage boy in army fatigues who looks a few years younger than me. Okay, 11 is not here and 7. No DJ?
I'm here.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I'm 7 too. I thought it was just 17.
Well, no, if you check this out, and I will type it. Because I have 2 different scripts, because I have different class sizes, and you guys are large. So you're 7 or 17.
The boy holds the woman's hands, murmurs in her ear.
Most of the town of Luka Chukai is here too.
For support, or for curiosity, or because they are drawn to the spectacle of grief.
They huddle in groups of 2 or 3, hunched in Morse clumps on the same battered gray chairs, breathing in stale air, made worse by the bolted up windows and the suffocating feel of too many people in too small a space.
Gosh, she's a good writer.
Next,
Dante?
Yeah, me at 7 too.
Is Dante here? No Dante, going once, twice. Okay. I'll mark that down. They are all locals. Navajo or Diné, as we call ourselves, whose ancestors have lived at the foothills of the Chuska Mountains for more generations than the Bilaganyas. I don't think I did that right. Ganyas have lived on this continent.
who can still tell stories of relatives broken in murder on the long walk or in Indian boarding schools like it was last?
Who have likely never traveled off the reservation.
Even back when it was just a forgotten backwater ward of the United States and not Deneta risen like it is today.
These Diné know the old story sung by the Hatali.
The ancient legends of monsters and the heroes who slew them, or slay them.
Even before the monsters rose up out of legend to steal village children from their beds.
Uh-oh, I got another all. 3, 2, 1.
And now
They are looking to me to be their hero.
Good job. We're on it.
But I'm no hero. I'm the last resort, a scorched earthly policy. I'm the person you hire when heroes are ready to come home in body bags.
My moccasins make no noise as I cross the cracked tile floor to stand in front of the mother.
Whispered conversations hush in my wake and heads turn to stare.
She does such good sound devices as she's the writer. Oh my God, she's good. Okay.
My reputation obviously precedes me, and not all of the looks are friendly.
A group of boys who must be the teenage boys' friends loiter along the far wall.
They snicker loudly, following me, our eyes following me, and no one bothers to shush them.
I ignore them and tell myself I don't care.
That I'm here to do a job and get paid, and what thinks of me beyond that doesn't matter.
And another all.
But I've always been a terrible liar.
3, 2, 1.
But I've
always been a terrible liar.
I love alls in Zoom land. Okay, continue. 7. The mother has only one
question for me.
Okay, cool.
Can you save her?
Can I?
That's the real question, isn't it?
Ooh, cool.
What good are my skills?
My clan powers?
If I can't save her.
You guys are good.
I can find her, I say.
And I can.
No doubt.
But saving and finding are two different things. The mother seems to sense that, and she shuts her eyes and turns away from me.
With the clearing of his throat, the man in the cowboy hat pushes himself up from his chair.
He's wearing old faded Levi's that probably fit 10 years ago, but now shrink back to leave his belly protruding over his belt buckle.
11. A similarly ill-fitting cowboy shirt covers his aging paunch, and the look he gives me through bloodshot eyes tells me he's already in mourning, that maybe he doesn't believe much in saving either.
He introduces the mother, the boy, and then himself.
First and last name, and then clans, like you're supposed to.
He's the missing girl's uncle. The boy is her brother.
They are all biggies. The last name as common here as Smith is the how you say it? Billingham?
Somebody knew it last fall. Billiganius? Because it's double A there. Yeah.
The gays.
His clan and such relationships are making him dying to decide our kindship obligations are unfamiliar to me.
He pauses, waiting for me to give my name and clans, so he and the others can place me in their little world, decide what our relations and what they might owe me. Sorry, I don't know.
I need to look that up.
And what Kie I owe them?
But I don't oblige him.
I've never been much for tradition, and it's better all around if we just stay strangers.
Finally, the older Begay nods, understanding I'm not inclined towards proper dine etiquette, and gestures to the cloth bag at his feet.
This is all we have for trade, he says.
His hands tremble as he speaks, which makes me think he's as bad of a liar as I am.
But he raises his chin definitely, eyes wide under the brim of his hat. I step forward and crouch to look through the bag, doing much math in my head.
The silver jewelry is nice, beads, old stamp worked bracelets, a few small squash blossoms. Even,
Words are
oh, go
sort
ahead.
of junk, missing the spiders ones that make the rocks worth big trade.
I can change the silver for goods in the markets in the Si Bonito, but the
Turquoise?
turquoise is useless no more than pretty blue stone.
You get to swear, number 6. Oh, the turquoise is shit, I tell him.
A loud grunt, and the brother pushes his chair back. The metal feet screech across the tile in protest. He makes a show of crossing his arms in the sky.
I ignore him and look back at the uncle. Maybe you should find someone else. Law dogs are thirsty.
He shakes his head, his moment of bravado leaking away under the weight of limited options. We tried. Nobody came. We wouldn't have sent a runner if we weren't.
Desperate, he doesn't have to say it. I get it.
The runner was a kid on a motorbike.
Short and squat, so runner was a bite of a misnomer, but he wore a pair of ancient Nikes, duct tape wrapped carefully thick around the toe and reinforcing the seam at the heel. So what do I know?
He sat in my yard with the bike's motor idling loudly, making my dogs bark.
I came to the door to tell him to go the hell away.
That I wasn't in the monster hunting business anymore.
But he told me Luka Chukai needed help and nobody else would come, and there was a little girl.
Besides, they were paying.
I said it wasn't my problem, but the kids were persistent, and the truth was, I was interested.
All I'd been doing the past 9 months was staring at the walls of my trailer.
So what else did I have to do?
Oops, sorry.
Plus, I was getting low on funds and could use the trade.
So when the kid refused to leave,
I decided
I could go to Luka Chukai.
But now I'm starting to regret it.
I'd forgotten in my months of self-imposed isolation how much I hate a crowd and how much a crowd hates me.
Uncle spreads his hands, I begging where words fail. I thought maybe once you saw.
And I do see, but I figured the Begays are holding out. Maybe they don't want to pay because I'm a woman.
maybe because I'm not him.
This is bullshit, the brother says loudly as he challenges sends a nervous Taylor rippling through the gathering.
He gestures to encompass his pose of friends along.
Clan powers? She won't even tell us what her clans are. And Nagani's apprentice? We only have her word for it.
At the mention of Naisgani's name, my heart speeds up and I can't breathe past the knot in my throat. But I force myself to swallow down the familiar hurt, the ache of abandonment, the pathetic flutter of desire. I haven't been Naisgani's anything for a long while now.
Not just her words, Uncle says. Everyone says.
Everyone says she's not right, that she's wrong, Navajo way. That's what everyone says.
A general burst of murmuring through the crowd, comparing notes on my wrongness, no doubt, but the uncle quiets them down with a flapping wave of his hands.
She's the only one who came. What do you want me to do? Send her away? Leave your sister out there at night with that thing that took her?
Send me, he shouts.
No, the mountain's no place after dark. The monsters. His eyes flickered on to me. The person is willing to send up the mountain after dark, but there's nothing like consternation on his face. After all, he's paying me to risk my life, although it's pretty stingy deal. The nephew is a relative, and another matter, we already lost one, he finishes weakly.
For a moment, the boy looks like he'll challenge his uncle, but he catches his mother's gaze and his shoulders fall.
He exhales loudly and slumps in his seat. I'm not scared, he mutters a final volley.
It's not true.
He's all show in those army cast-offs, and he surrendered quick enough. I glance over at his boys against the wall.
Quiet now, looking everywhere but at their friend. I revised his age down a few years.
Oops, sorry.
I let my eyes drift toward the boarded up window where the sun is swiftly setting. If I had a watch, I'd make a show of checking it.
Seems to me all this talk is wasting my daylight.
I tell them pay me that I'm worth and let me do my job, or don't pay and let me go home. It makes no difference to me.
I pause before I look at the mother, but it might make a difference to your daughter.
The boy flinches. I get a small tick of pleasure watching him flush in shame before a voice cuts through the heavy air.
Have claim powers. It's the first thing the mother says since she asked if I could find her daughter. She seems startled by her own outburst and raises her hands as if to cover her mouth.
But she stops short, lowers her hands to her lap, and grips the fabric of her long skirt before she adds quietly, like him, the monster slayer. The rumor is you do. That he taught you that you're like him.
I'm not like Nezgani, no. He is the monster slayer of legend and mortal who is the son of two holy people. I'm human, a five-fingered girl, but I'm not exactly normal either. Not like his brothers and his friends. If the brothers asked the boy or the uncle, I would refuse, but I won't deny a grieving mother.
Honagani, born for Kea Hanai. Only my first two clans, but that's enough.
The crowd's muttered suspicion raised a vocal hostility, and one of the boys barked something ugly at me.
The mother stands up, back straight, and silences the crowd with a hard stare. Her eyes fill with something fierce that stirs my sympathy in spite my best efforts not to give a damn. We have more, she says. The uncle starts to protest, but she cuts him off, her voice louder, commanding. We have more trade, we'll pay. Just find her, find my daughter.
And that's my cue.
I roll my shoulders, shifting the shotgun in the holster across my back. Habit makes me briefly palm the belt of shotgun shells at my waist and the Boker hunting knife sheathed against my hip.
Fingertips brush through the throwing knives tuckled in the tops of my moccasin wraps. Silver on the right, obsidian on the left.
Oops, I sling my pack over my shoulder and turn on silent feet, moving through the muted crowd.
Keep my head up, my hands loose, and my eyes straight ahead.
I push the door open and step out of the stifling chapter house just as the brother shouts, "What if you don't come back?"
I don't bother to answer. If I don't come back, Luka Chukai's got bigger problems then.
3, 2, 1.
One
Girl. I know it makes me want to read this book, but that's just chapter 1. Very strong female character, having to, get some kind of pay to go searching for the missing daughter. Written by female, Rebecca Roanhorse. And then again, the image that we get at the cover, the book's cover, and then the article that I've posted in Classroom as well will talk a little bit about her background. And she's written several books, but really good reviews. And it's kind of got legend, current affairs, tribal politics, gender issues, all going on in that first chapter, besides the murder mystery. And so, yeah, you guys were phenomenal. We had good voices, a nice variety of voices. And for a first time read, well done. Last fall, I had a class of 21 and I'd have to pause because they were scrambling to remember their numbers because they had never done a reader's theater before. And this is a real fast one. I mean, I didn't take time with, cutting it into even smaller speeches or more group responses. And then some voices, of course, were definitely female. And then some were definitely male. And then sometimes you can make your narrators different ages. So a narrator that might say the word "he mumbled" might be an older, raspier voice, just to give it some sense of mystery and wonder and the questioning of what the book's about. So I'm not going to pull you. Thanks for reading. I think you all contributed nicely. And it took us a little while, but I think we did just fine. I have 4 of them for us to read through. So we have 10 minutes left of class. So I think we're going to try to start the next one. And again, they're all science fiction, so they all kind of have this edge. Any comments before we begin our second one?
Is there anybody in the class that you don't have at all, like that attends class that you have for a script in this play?
Oh, for the number?
Yeah.
Well, when we started, 11, 10, and 6 weren't showing, but then they started to show. And so I think I just ended up with number 6.
Okay.
So
yeah,
if
because
you
you told me that this is Connie. You told me I was 6 or 16, and so I was doing 16.
That's cool. Okay. Because I and I go back and look, but I see the attendance, we have the recording, because those were the ones at the beginning. I'm like, okay, pause. And I just kind of keep a running tab going. So, but yeah, it's, these are, I think, worth our time because we exercise our voice. We check out some new literature. And I'm trying to think where she's located in this. Is she at the top of this article from the New York Times? Yep. No, where's she
Like,
at?
could you have the book posted on where we would
They're
look?
they're in Google Classroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this article that I'm scrolling through, that's in week number 5 for the Readers Theaters. This is posted there.
Okay,
So
the article is for.
Well, no, the article is just what I'm scrolling through so you can see where I got the pieces of literature. There's Rebecca, there's the author of the one we just read, Rebecca Roanhorse.
Oh, okay.
And
Thanks.
she has another book coming out in October called Black Sun. She has written several. I did a little preliminary research on these authors last fall. But then when I went into Amazon and read the first chapters of each of these books, I thought, we need to read some of this literature just to see how it goes. One thing about her writing that captivated me, and everyone's got a different response to writing and listening to writing, is the sound images at the beginning. One after another, plus the smell image of the monster. Just by putting the word monster in there, she had my attention, but I like sci-fi and I like murder mysteries. I love Stephen King books. So it's like, once I get that question, and then she gives us so much more with context in that first chapter about the who, what, where, when, how, to what extent, and then the picture of the searcher on top of the pickup truck. But I'm wondering if there's any quote from here. Roanhorse, who lived on the Navajo Nation in New Mexico, said she worked with a Navajo cultural consultant to make sure her depictions were accurate. Young Navajo readers have responded enthusiastically to the representation of Navajo characters and culture, she said, as well as her use of Diné or Navajo language in the dialogue. One of her aims in writing post-apocalyptic narratives, Roanhorse said, is to depict a world where Native culture, language, and people have endured in spite of the efforts over the centuries to wipe them out. So we kind of get a little feedback from the author herself. I said it in the future specifically so I could say, hey, Natives exists and will exist in the future. And that's her quote from the author we just listened to, and her words. So, all right, 11:44. Let's go back to classroom. And in week number 5, I just call it the Readers Theater Week. And we're just gonna we'll read today. We'll probably do a little reading on Wednesday. And then if you go into your topic sheet, you'll see that I've already put you in groups. I've given the groups a topic, a medical, environmental, they're all tribal issues. And then what we're gonna do in those groups is kind of explore and do just preliminary research on those topics, where you'll be responsible for bringing one article to class. But I wanted to get a little readers theater in here. Again, it's kind of like reading your Native American children's book. It's one more experience. There are classes just in readers theater. And it's a speech category at a lot of colleges and high schools. I know South Dakota has it for a category in their high school speech. We have Empire Wild, and that's for a large class. So you keep your numbers. And then we have The Only Good Indians by Stevens. So let's just do 4 minutes. Oh, I hate to start a new one. So I'm not. We'll do 2 of them on Wednesday, because I hate to start a new one and finish it. Maybe we should, because by Wednesday you get your numbers. I'm going to Empire Wild. This is by Sherry Dimmeline. And let's look. It's for a large group again. So number 1, you may begin reading with the word prologue. Do I have person number 1? Kylie. No go?
Prologue.
Thank you. 2.
A new hunt.
Old medicine has a way of being remembered, of hunting the land where it was laid. People are forgetful. Medicine is not.
The town of Arcan was a church, a school, a convenience store, a bootlegger, and a crowd of stooped houses leaning like old men trying to hear conversation over a graveyard of Greeniers and Trudias.
Sundays were for God, though most people prayed out on the lake, casting Hail Marys with their fishing lines into the green water, yelling to the sky when they didn't get lucky or when they did.
Parties were held in kitchens. How do you say that?
Ukra.
Ukra was a sport, and fiddles made only sound worth dancing to. Any other music was just a background noise for storytelling and beer drinking and flirting, or for providing a cadence for flight or fight choreography when you just had to beat the shit out of your cousin.
Okay, so that gives us context and setting, and I think it is euchre. Euchre is a sport. I think it's a card game. All right, well, we're going to end there, so you kind of have an idea about Wild Empire, and then there are 4 scripts, so we're going to try to read through maybe 2 more on Wednesday, and then get started. I want you to get going with your groups before the weekend, so you have time to research an article. So thank you for reading. I hope most of you enjoyed that. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you.
Okay, see you.
Bye-bye.
Jade?
Yes.
Question.
This is Connie. On Wednesday, my daughter has a doctor's appointment during this class period. So.
Okay, thanks for letting me know.
Yep.
You seen my title? It was right there when you gave me my number.
Oh, for the last speech you gave?
Yeah. The topic is right there.
Okay, so I have DJ ? Title. I'll go in, I promise. I did check, and you did have a title in there, but I didn't check the date.
All right.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.